So Republicans are scratching their heads over the election results in the midterm election. And are they realizing that maybe Americans don't support them as much as they think they do? Let's talk about it in today's video. Hi, I'm Mike Greiner. I'm a lifelong Democratic activist who's concerned about the direction our country is taking. I'm also a lawyer and an academic, and I'm here to help you stand up to the BS of the MAGA crowd. So Republicans are flummoxed. They just don't know what happened in the midterm election. They were convinced that they had it won, and yet here we are. The election day is past, and we still don't know who controls the House or the Senate. And in this year that was supposed to be a red wave, it appears that the Democrats still have a chance of controlling both chambers. Could it be that America supports the radical agenda of the Democrats? Let's check out this video here.
Joining me right now is Pennsylvania Congressman, House Appropriations Committee member, Rules Committee member, and China Task Force member, Guy Reschenthaler. Congressman, it's great to see you.
Maria, thanks for having me.
Thanks very much for being here. Let's first talk about your state, Pennsylvania. It's pretty amazing to see the tightness of these races. John Fetterman and Dr. Oz, your thoughts?
Well, I'm shocked. I thought Dr. Oz was going to win by 2 or 3%. I really did. The internal polling looked incredible. And I also thought we were going to have 3 pickup opportunities in terms of House races. What happened, though, Marie, is what we saw is we had so much headwind at the top of the ticket with Doug Mastriano. And
it's not just headwind with Doug Mastriano. Dr. Oz was a terrible candidate, and John Fetterman was a great candidate. Were it not for the stroke, John Fetterman probably would have run away with the election. But the fact of the matter is that he spoke with a genuineness and an understanding of his home state that Dr. Oz just never displayed. For the Democrats, this election was about 2 things. Number 1, abortion. Number 2, candidate quality. In race after race, we had better candidates than the Republicans, and that's why we got the result that we did. Let's keep watching.
And that's not taking anything away from Doug, but Dr. Oz outperformed Doug Mastriano by 10 points, and it still wasn't enough. And it wasn't enough to get those House members across the finish line. So I'm shocked. But
yeah, I mean, Fetterman is projected to beat Mehmet Oz in Pennsylvania's, and that flips the seat.
By a pretty comfortable margin, by the way. Let's keep watching.
It does. And what's shocking, I think what we underestimated is how radical the liberal base is. I mean, you had a guy that...
Yes, it's the liberal base that's radical. But the fact is the majority of the people in the state voted for John Fetterman. They didn't vote for Dr. Oz. So who are the radical ones here? Let's keep watching.
Wants to release 1/3 of all prisoners, wants to do away with cash bail, wants to legalize all drugs, and that energized the base. That didn't turn.
Now, number 1, he's exaggerating all those things that he said. But what's more is he's not mentioning the fact that Mastriano and Dr. Oz were supporters of Trump's who basically don't believe in democracy anymore and are unwilling to protect a woman's right to choose. Those are huge issues that made these Republican candidates unacceptable to the majority of the voters. It's not just the radical liberal base out there. This is what the majority has said. Let's keep watching.
Off the Democrats, that brought them out in big numbers. Also, just how disingenuous it was for this guy to just like Biden, hide in the basement, shy away from voters, and it's still...
Disingenuous. The guy had a stroke. He was recovering from the stroke. Actually, it was amazing how well he did. They talk about the debate and how badly he did. I'll tell you, I thought he did a pretty darn good job for a guy who's recovering from a stroke. And as Fetterman pointed out, by December, he'll be better from the stroke, but Dr. Oz will still be a fraud. Let's keep watching.
Wasn't enough. Again,
And they keep talking about Joe Biden hiding in the basement. That was during COVID. I love how they twist these facts to suit their arguments. Let's keep watching.
Wins at the top of the ticket, disappointed in the result.
I think it's a great point. It is indicative of how radical the left is, and I think that was also seen.
How radical the left is. I mean, let's remember, the majority voted for these radical candidates. Let's keep watching.
In New York. But, you know, I mean, I'm left saying, wow, if the Republicans cannot win a bigger margin, even in this current environment with inflation and all of these issues, crime spiking. The latest Fox News voter analysis asked Americans what's the most important what's the most important issue, rather, this election season. 47% said that the economy, the jobs remain a top concern, ranking higher than other issues like abortion and climate change. And yet we still still did not see that red wave.
Now, one thing's for sure. I mean, this certainly was a tough environment for Democrats. I mean, it's always going to be a tough environment to have a midterm when you're the party in charge. Just that would have predicted that the Republicans would take the House and the Senate. So the fact that the Democrats were still in this race at all is pretty amazing. But then you do add in the issue of inflation, which is a big issue. And there are legitimate concerns that people have about the economy. And those types of things will go against the party in power to a certain extent. But what this poll doesn't reflect is what the exit polls have shown, which is that while inflation was the number one issue, just slightly behind it was abortion. People are still outraged over the Supreme Court and the Dobbs decision. And the aggressiveness of the Republicans to try to take away a woman's right to choose is just unacceptable to the majority of American voters. And they're viewing these Democrats and saying, okay, so they're for higher taxes on the rich and for legalizing marijuana, but yet these Republicans are against democracy. Which one's the radical? The American people spoke, and I think it's clear what they said. Let's keep watching.
Materialize. Look back. Should other things have been done? What should have been done differently? How are you looking at the overall results this morning?
So it's so hard, Maria, to break this out because it's a mixed bag.
Maybe the Republican Party shouldn't have gone so far into right field that they are unacceptable to most Americans at this point. Let's keep watching.
We won seats that we were supposed to lose. For example, the seat in, it borders me in Maryland, upstate Maryland, David Trone. Trone was projected to win, and it turns out that...
You know, for every seat where there was a surprise where the Republican won, I can point to several seats that were a surprise where the Democrat won. That's just part of the nature of elections, and part of the reason why I tend not to gloat, because I realize there are so many factors outside of your control. Let's keep watching.
Barrett v. Trone, where if you look at the Rio Grande Valley, we lost seats that we were supposed to win. And in terms of these candidates matter. We saw candidates that were upside down, meaning they had more unfavorability and favorability, winning against good Republican candidates.
Obviously, they weren't such a great Republican candidate, were they? Let's keep watching.
So it's a total mixed bag, but the highlights are that in Florida we won big. The fact that DeSantis led by 60-40, I mean that's huge.
That's huge. Yeah.
Abbott, we were supposed to have problems in North Carolina with Ted.
We were not supposed to have problems in North Carolina. Well, the Republicans weren't supposed to have problems in North Carolina. The idea that the Democrats were going to win that Senate seat was a pipe dream. Let's keep watching.
Ted Budd won. So again, it's a mixed bag. I think we got to do some more analysis. What is really shocking, Maria, though, is that on all the top four issues that voters cared about, Republicans had an advantage going in. Economy.
Obviously, that's not the case. Let's keep watching.
Inflation, crime, education.
Exactly.
First time ever Republicans led on education, and yet we still didn't have the kind of night I thought we were going to have.
Well, I was very surprised at the border communities. Mayra Flores has run a very strong campaign. The border is a huge issue. And yet, did people not come out?
Ah, the border, yes. Fox News has done everything they can to create a fake crisis at the border. And the problem is the people who live there know how it really is. And they aren't buying the BS that Fox News is spewing. Let's keep watching.
I don't know if it was a turnout differential or not. I'm scratching my head with the Rio Grande Valley. But I can tell you, I still think we're going to take back.
The Republicans really just can't believe that their fake manufactured border crisis didn't help them win some seats. Let's keep watching.
The House.
Yeah.
It just won't be with the 230 in the 230s that we thought we were.
You know, the odds are they will take the House, but that's still not settled. The Democrats could take it. I mean, remember back in 2018, I remember initially it was predicted that the Democrats would win, 25 seats or so. Ultimately, they won over 40 seats. And that's because as the mail-in votes were counted later on, the Democrats did better and better. That's certainly possible. It could happen now. Let's keep watching.
Going to be in the mid-220s. I still think Kevin McCarthy becomes Speaker, and I can tell you that there's one person in the Republican conference in the House that can navigate a small majority. It's Kevin McCarthy. So I'm still...
All right, let's see. So he's trying to spin the best out of a tough situation for the Republicans. Truth is, it's hard to feel sorry for them. But I think this just shows that for all the Republican talk about how radical the Democrats are, the American people know the truth. And the true radicals in American politics today are the Republican Party. And the American people have spoken, and they said, we've had enough of this. Well, if you want to find out more about how Fox News has done its best to manufacture a border crisis, check out this video over here, where I expose a fake video that was actually created for Fox News to make it seem that there's a border crisis. But the problem they have on the border is that people who live there know what's actually going on. I'll see you then. In the meantime, let's hope for continued progress. Thank you.